Alright, so the first thing we're going to do in part A is to do what? Work out the, and what do you want to tell me?
The bracket.
Yeah, the bracket. But we see we have two pairs of brackets. Which one to work out first? Anybody want to tell me?
The inner brackets.
The innermost bracket. So we're going to write back what we're not using. So 15, the minus 3. Now recall what we said earlier, that once we have a bracket, whatever immediately is outside of the bracket is actually multiplying by the result of what's in the bracket. So this 3 here is actually multiplying. So we should not take 3 from 15 because multiplication must be done first. And this 3 is multiplying by the result of the quantity that's in the bracket. But we need to work out that quantity so we can multiply it by 3. So that's why we're going to put the 15 and then subtract 3 times the quantity. So what's that quantity? Well, we work out the innermost bracket. The 3 squared we know is just one number, which is what? 9, right? We're not really, so to speak, working that out in a sense, because 3 squared is just 9. We just have to work that out eventually. So simultaneously we can work that out while working out the innermost bracket. And the innermost bracket is going to be what? 1 minus 4, which is going to give us negative 3. Everybody's agree with that, right? 1 minus 4 is negative 3. If you don't like to work with the minus, you can change the minus to a plus and then change the 4 to a negative 4. That's another way of looking at it. So we're adding two numbers with different signs, and so we're going to subtract. That is 1 from 4 give us 3. And since the negative 4, it has a larger absolute value than 1, meaning that it is further away from 0 than 1, we keep the sign of the negative 4. And so it's going to be negative 3. So that's why we have a negative 3 in the bracket. 1 minus 4, same as 1 plus negative 4 is negative 3. Alright, so the next step, again, we continue to work the bracket. And so it's going to be 9 plus the square of negative 3. So which one do we do first? Do we add the 9 to negative 3 or do we square the negative 3? Which one do we do first? So we work parentheses. We're still working within the parentheses, right? And we deal with exponent first. So in the parentheses or within the brackets, we're looking at the exponent. So we work out the exponent. Another name for exponent is power. So we're going to work the power first. So the square of negative 3. What is the square of negative 3? Right? So we know that negative 3 literally means negative times negative 3. It means negative 3 times negative 3. And negative times negative is positive. And so 3 is 9. So that's going to be positive 9. And so we have 15 minus 3 times the quantity, 9 plus 9. What is 9 plus 9? 18. So it's 15 minus 3 times the quantity, 18. So everything in the bracket worked out to be 18. So what we really have in bracket there is 3 squared plus, again, negative 3 to be squared, which both give you a positive 9. And so simplifying this further, it's really 15 minus 3 times 18. What is 3 times 18? That's 54, right? Okay, so 3 times 10 is 30, and 3 times 8 is 24. 24 plus 30 is 54. And then we subtract 15 from 54. And what's the answer for that? So 54 minus 15. If we take 54, we have 54 and we take away 15. By the way, let me just do the same thing that we were doing before. We have 15. 1 second. 15 minus 54. We write it the same way as 15 plus. So what we're doing is changing this minus to a plus. And so we got to change the sign of 54, which would be negative 54. So the same thing there. So we add in two quantities with different signs. So we're going to subtract the smaller from the larger. And 15 from 54 will give us what? That'll be 39. All right, and which sign do we keep? Which sign do we keep? The sign of the 54 or the sign of the 15? Somebody tell me.
The sign of the 54.
Right, so we take negative. All right, thank you. Did anyone get that answer? Yes, no? The mistake that one person said they made was having this as negative 9. But that cannot be. The only way that would be the answer is if what? Is if we had this. In this case, right, this is going to be the negative of 3 squared, which would be negative 9. But once you have a bracket, it means you're squaring the number within the bracket, which means you're multiplying it by itself. And so the answer in this case would be a positive 9. So notice that those two things are different, right? The positive 9 there is not equal to negative 3 squared, because negative 3 squared is equal to negative 9. As in, negative 3 to be squared isn't positive 9, but a negative of 3 squared is negative 9. Alright, so these are two different things. This is not the same as this. They're not equal. So keep that in mind. That's why it's good to put things in brackets, right? Especially when you're substituting in algebra. Okay, so let's go on to B then. What are we going to do here? We're going to work the brackets first. And in the bracket, we have multiplication and we have exponent. So based on the rule, we're going to deal with the exponent first. So it's going to be 2 times the square of 6, which is 36, added to 9 times 3. Now, we could have just simply worked out 9 times 3, by the way, because 9 and 3 are multiplying. There's nothing else being done to them. So we could have just worked those out. Once we have a plus or minus sign, it can work out in between. So here we have a plus sign that separates whatever we have over here, 3 times the quantity in brackets, where the plus sign separate 3 times that quantity from 9 times 3. So we could have worked out both sides separately. But let's just do it in stages, just for now. And then we're going to have what? So let's work out the brackets. 2 times 36 is 72, and 3 nines is 27. So notice again, we can work that out. Once we have a plus or minus, these are separated by the plus. And 3 times 72 is what exactly? Well, 3 2s 6 and 3 7s 21. So it's going to be 216 plus 27. And then we're going to add these two. So let's do that. So we have 216 plus 27. 7 plus 6 is 13. 2 plus 2, as in 2 plus 1 plus 1 is 4. And we get 243. Alright, so that's correct. You got that correct, as you mentioned that answer before. Okay, what about this one? Who would like to have a go at this one? Going once, going twice. Anybody would like to have a go at this one? It says PEMDAS. This means work out the brackets, called parentheses. Right? And this one is the exponents, another name for powers. Then we have multiplication. We have division. We have addition. And we have subtraction. So let's take them off. Parentheses, we're dealing with brackets, right? Do we have anything there in bracket to work out?
So -4 and -1 and a half.
Oh, we're here. We're over here at C.
Oh, C.
Yeah.
So 5 plus 1.
So we're gonna work that out. But parentheses, whatever we work out within the parentheses or brackets, we do not remove the parentheses. We just bring whatever is there to one number. So what number are we gonna have? What number are we gonna have?
6.
6. Very good. Okay. Next, it says, okay, so parentheses, so we already work out parentheses. Exponents, do we have any exponents?
Yeah, 3 to the second power.
Right. 3 to the second power. Now, this one is not, are we squaring -3 or are we just squaring the 3?
I think that would just square in the 3.
You're correct. And you're correct because unlike this one above here, we have, do you notice that we have, the square is outside of a bracket, right? So we are squaring
Yeah.
everything in the bracket. But this one here, we can think of this as, you see, look at this one. This one was saying adding the square of negative 3. But this one is just simply subtracting the square of 3. So we're subtracting the square of 3, meaning we are subtracting what 3 squared is. We're subtracting 9. So we came up with a 4 times 6. I mean, we could work that out, but let's just keep it in it. Let's work them out according to the order of operation there. So we're going to have 9, which is we're subtracting the square of 3, which is 9, plus 9. Now, what we have remaining there, we have what? We dealt with exponents. So we're left with multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. So what
Yeah.
operations do we have there?
We have multiplication.
Multiplication, subtraction, and addition. Which one should we do first?
Yeah. Multiply.
Right, because based on the order of operation here, multiplication should be done before addition and subtraction, right? So these two guys here, multiplication and division, must be done before addition or subtraction. So we multiply 4, 6 to get 24. Let's provide the 9 plus 9, the minus 9 and plus 9. Okay. All right, what should we do here now? I mean, this part can be a little tricky because based on the order of operation, we're seeing addition before subtraction. And this one can be tricky for some persons. But what do you think we should do first?
Take away the 9 from 24.
Right, very good. So even though this says addition before subtraction, addition and subtraction are on the same level, that you can think of it that way, and you do whichever comes first. With multiplication and division, think of them as being on the same level, and you do whichever comes first, okay? So it's going to be 24 minus 9, which is going to give us what? 15.
15.
Right. 15 plus 9 will give us what?
14.
Well, hold up. 15 plus
Wait,
9?
no. Wait, my bad, man.
No, that's okay.
24.
Right, give back the 24. Because we subtracted 9 and we added 9. Imagine that. So, and it's the same thing. You subtract 9, you have $24, right? You spend $9, and then, you know, you come out of the shop and somebody say, hey, here's $9. So you bring it back right to your $24, right? But it's the same thing that this is saying. Subtract 9, add 9 literally means 0. Alright? I mean, that's going to be the result. Because if we were to put them the other way around, we'll be saying what? Positive 9 minus 9. And 9 minus 9 is 0. And even if you want to just take it for what it is, negative 9 plus 9, even, what are the rules? You're adding two numbers with different signs. And so, if the signs are different, you subtract. And 9 from 9 is 0. 0 is neither positive nor negative. Okay? And so that, no matter how we put it, these two guys here will cancel out. So if you want to think about adding these two guys, based on the rule of order of operation, this will work out to be 0. That will give us 0 right there. So some person might be thinking, okay, it's going to be 9 plus 9. But this 9 is not a positive 9. This is actually a negative 9. So it's literally not 9 plus 9. And it's not saying subtract 9 plus 9 either. It's actually minus 9 minus plus 9. It's actually minus 9 plus 9. If you want to say subtract 9 plus 9, then you would have to write it like this. In this case, we're saying subtract the quantity 9 plus 9, which is subtracting 18. All right, so very good. You did pretty well. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
All right, have a go. How do we do this one?
So for D, so after
What operation? What operation are we dealing with for all of them?
brackets and multiplication.
So everything is multiplying, right? So this is literally 25 times negative 4 times negative 1 times 0 times a half. Is there anything there that can just give you the answer in just one go? Is there anything noteworthy?
I think the half of 25.
Okay. All right. It's actually short of
But I
what?
suppose
Well, let's.
solve the whole
You
thing.
want to take half of 25?
No, I think we should stop the whole thing.
Huh?
I think we should just solve everything.
Okay, so solve everything. No problem. Go ahead.
So it would be the -4 times -1 times 0, which would give you, what is it, 5?
Remember, you're multiplying.
Oh, +4.
Okay, so you're saying that this will give you +4.
Yes.
Okay, so you basically work out this, and you got your +4. So
Yes, sir.
let's work everything else. All right, 25 times +4 times 0 times a half. Okay, continue. What next?
And then 25 times 4 is 100.
Good. Times 0 times a half. Then okay. Anything else?
And then a half of 100 is 50.
Okay. So you're saying that the order in which you multiply doesn't matter, right?
No, it doesn't.
Okay. Right. Good. And that's the commutative law of multiplication. So half of 100 is 50. So you're saying 50 times 0. Okay.
We'll give you back 50.
Okay. So let me ask you a question. What is 50 times 1?
Wait. Wait, anything, no, that's not bad. Anything multiplied by 0 is 0.
Ah, very good.
Because 50 times 1 will give you 50.
Very good. And anything times 0. So 0 will give you, anything times 0 will give you 0. Very good, right?
Yes.
All right, good. All right. So could you have done anything different right at the beginning and get the answer right away, based on what you're seeing the result is? Anything?
Not that I can think of.
Okay. All right. Okay. So what if you notice? Like, look at the 0. You see what you did? You decided you chose what you wanted to multiply. Right? You chose what you wanted to multiply. For instance, you said you're gonna multiply these two first, because you realized all these numbers are multiplying, so you just decide what you want to multiply. So if you decide to multiply by 0, what would have happened, Anissa? If you decide to multiply by 0, what would have happened?
I also get back 0.
Okay, let's see. Let's multiply by 0. Let's multiply these two numbers by 0. What would you have gotten? 0 times -1 would be what?
You can have a -0.
No.
No?
But
Just to give back 0.
Yeah, because you told me anything times 0 give you 0. So it's just
Yeah.
0. Okay? So that's going to be 0. Okay. Remember, 0 is neither positive nor negative. And so what it does, 0 times 0 would be 0. Okay. And so we have 25 times -4 times 0 times a half. Let's use 0 again. Let's use the 0. Let's say 0 times the 4. -4. What is 0 times -4?
0.
0. Okay. So that's 0. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And what's 0 times 25?
0.
Okay. And what's that 0 times a half?
0.
Yeah, because you said anything times 0 is 0, and you're right. So you realize the 0 would have just transformed everything. So once you see you're multiplying several sets of numbers, could go on to infinity. As long as you have a 0 there in the product, in those set of numbers that are multiplying, that 0 would make everything else. Make everything else what?
0.
When you multiply, right? Once you're multiplying